Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final Fantasy Football Scout pre-season video of the pre-season. Obviously, there's no deadline stream tonight because everyone's at Fest. we got no one that can do it. Chris did offer, but he's in Barcelona and hasn't got anything or any of the tech set up. So I've managed to convince him not to try that, which I think is probably for the best. Neil, how are you? Busy? Stressed? Feeling good?
Very busy. Yeah, I think I had about 3 hours sleep last night. I was still furiously typing away about 3 o'clock in the morning. But about 6:30 tonight, I'll be opening that fridge door and drowning my sorrows. I think I'll probably be asleep by about 8:05 tonight. I'm not even sure I'll make the Arsenal game. I certainly won't be going to Fest. I think I'll be getting my pajamas as soon as the deadline passes and then straight to bed.
You can wake up to the Gabriel Jesus red card and the Palace 1-0 win. Yep.
Joel Ward, 90th minute winner, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We have covered quite a lot of the stuff from team news in the video that Neil and I did yesterday. So check out the predicted lineups video that we did. Really popular, 25,000 views and counting on that, which is great. We are going to kind of cover some of the extra stuff. We've had some press conferences today. We'll kind of do a quick recap over the key things of each team as well, but hopefully try and keep this a little bit shorter because it was pretty comprehensive yesterday. So do check that out if you're more interested in the team lineups. If you are enjoying this video and you've enjoyed the video that we did yesterday, do subscribe to the channel. Do give us a like as well. I've called this the world's best FPL team news, and I stand by that. I also think this is the most important stream of the week as well. So if you're going to watch one stream, I strongly suggest everyone watches this one because this is where we get the key information. And I can already see so many questions about Perisic. Well, you're going to have to wait about 10 teams before we cover him. How's that for making people wait? Right, let's start with the first game then. The first game is Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. As always, we'll start with the home team. What have you got for me, Neil?
Yes, we heard from Vieira yesterday. He didn't bring us anything on Butland or Johnston, as far as I could see anyway. But he did mention a few other players. So we know that Elise is going to be out. He's a name you might want to revisit later in the FPL season. But he's out. He hasn't played since May. MacArthur too and Tompkins. So they're the three confirmed absentees. And as I said, Butland and Johnston missed a bit of pre-season with their respective problems. But we didn't get an update on those two.
Yep. And over to Arsenal. Popular. Lots of people with them in their team.
Very.
I'm just going to close my window because someone's drilling. Don't know if you can hear it. I'll let you talk.
I can't. It's not your neighbour, is it? Anyway, yeah, Arsenal. Now it's a bit of an ambiguous update from Arteta. We've got 4 players who are definitely carrying injuries or have carried injuries through pre-season who are now back in training, some form of training, and 3 of them are training. I think as of today. And if everything goes well, Arteta said will be available for selection. And we didn't mention which was the odd one out. We think it's Smith Rowe based on media reports. I think the suggestion was that he'd be back next week. So we think certainly Tomiyasu and Tierney are nearest to a complete comeback. But in all honesty, not one of those 4 will get in the starting lineup tonight because of their lack of pre-season minutes and because the side. The players in front of them in the queue have been performing quite well and started the last 2 pre-seasons friendlies all together. So we had, Ben White at right back, Zinchenko at left back, where obviously Tomiyasu and Tierney usually play. And then Vieira's obviously a new addition. I think it's going to maybe challenge Odegaard's game time, and then Smith Rowe is a competition for Martinelli, but none of the returning 4, or however many is available tonight, will make the starting 11. Beyond that, there's obviously some rotation risk.
Yep. Once they come in, it's going to add quite a lot of competition. I mean, people start with Ben White, like you said, with Tomiyasu, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Vieira, Odegaard, and Tierney, Zinchenko. So it's good for people this week that they're all out because those players are all going to start. But yeah, once the competition starts, it's going to be interesting to see how Arteta manages all of these players. They've got a good squad, haven't they, Arsenal? Expecting quite big things from them this season.
Pretty good depth in every position. Maybe they need someone instead of Granit Xhaka in that position, but apart from that, I think they're looking pretty good.
Yep. Fulham next. They've just signed Shane Duffy. Why have we let him go?
They have. Yeah, he's 4.5, isn't he? Sadly, he's not the 4 million GM of yesteryear. So yeah, I doubt he'll be featuring in this one, at least from the start. It's the lunchtime game, isn't it? The kickoff, so it's late in the day arrival. But Leno might be in place, so he came during the week from Arsenal, so he'll might be in line for his debut, unless there's any kind of red tape I haven't seen. Two players definitely out, and that is Harry Wilson, who was very influential last season, and Chalobah as well, less so. We didn't get any updates on Joe Bryan, who apparently broke his hand, but yeah, Wilson's the main big absentee for Fulham because he was on a lot of set plays. And his absence might mean that Pereira gets even more of a share at dead ball situations because they would have sort of shared the free kicks and corners. So maybe to Pereira's advantage.
But a lot of us might need him if Perisic does miss out.
Yeah,
in that. So be first sub for a lot of people. How about Liverpool? Then we've had some comments on Darwin Núñez, I believe.
Yes, there was. I'll deal with the fitness first. So Alisson's fine. That's the big news. Apart from that, they've got a list of absentees. Canati is out, so that hands the advantage to Matip. Jota, of course, we knew about. Tsimikas is out. Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Keller as well. Naby Keita's just back in training after illness. So yeah, there was a quote on Darwin, as you said there, and Klopp was saying that he's ready, but then went on to say that it doesn't mean that he has to start, and they've got different options, i.e. Firmino. And again, mentioned words like Darwin needing time to get used to things and that sort of stuff. So it's because of those kind of comments that there's no great conviction about a start against Fulham. Although, as we mentioned yesterday, we did discuss this yesterday, that this would be the type of game probably to throw him in because you're going to see plenty of the ball, you're going to see plenty of chances. There's not so much of the Firmino dirty work that needs to be done. But there's still plenty of people, Liverpool fans and journalists, think that Firmino is still going to start this one.
Yep, interesting. Have to wait and see on that. So I was just looking away because there was a couple of teams I hadn't had the tweets in for, but they've just come in. So I'm going to add those live as we go. What can possibly go wrong? Bournemouth next. We've talked about their problems at the back in the video yesterday. Any kind of new information from them?
I don't think so. The players we knew were out. Rothwell and Fredericks, they're out. And of course, David Brooks is still building up match fitness after he beat cancer last season, and it'll be a while before we see him, I think. But I don't think there's anything new apart from that. Cool.
Then let's go straight over to Villa.
Yeah, we had Gerrard up this morning, and he mentioned two players who are going to miss this one, and that's Ezri Konsa and Keenan Davis, backup options, both of those. There was two niggles, so that was Tyrone Mings and Emiliano Buendia, but they've both trained since then. So Gerrard says he's got a full complement apart from the pair I've just mentioned, Konsa and Davis, and yeah, it's just a handful of positions, as we said yesterday. Who partners Carlos and who is in midfield, Louise or Ramsey. I think apart from that, this lineup looks pretty settled with Bailey, of course, starting on the right.
Yeah, is Buendia competition to Bailey, do you reckon, for that role?
He could be, but Gerrard's been reluctant to play both Buendia and Coutinho on the same side. So I think he said before, it doesn't really work. So I don't think necessarily. I think Ings is probably more competition, but it's not a direct replacement. It's more system led. So if they're playing two up top, it's obviously Ings and Watkins with Coutinho in behind. If it's just Watkins through the middle, then you've got space for two wider options in the form of Bailey and Coutinho here. So yeah, I don't think Buendia is a sort of a direct threat.
Okay, that's good. Leeds next. Jesse March. Well, we talked about the problems they've got again. Is there anything new?
Well, this was yesterday, the press conference, and we got confirmation that there was lots of players out. So Daniel James is suspended, and then on the injury list, you got Dallas, Aylan, Firpo, Forshaw, Sinistera, the new signing, and then Liam Cooper's not quite ready. He's back on the training ground after his Achilles problem, but all those players are out, which again leads a starting 11 pretty easy to predict.
Yep, nice. Flying through these, Neil. It's almost like doing a 1 hour, 10-minute stream the day before team news makes it easier for us.
My enthusiasm might be waning slightly at 3:15 on a Friday.
Sounds about right. Wolves next.
Yeah, we had
Gibbs White. He was the one that I've put a quote in for because there's been bids and rejections and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, strangely enough, just at the point where he's getting a chance in that Wolves team because he's been farmed out on loan in the past. The bids are starting to come in from, as you said, Forest, I think, bid 25 million or something in the region of that. Bruno Lage obviously wants to keep him. So he would have, we think he's going to start this weekend in the front three because Jimenez is out for a while, I think, a good while, possibly till that September international break. Adama Traore's out as well, who's been less involved over the last 12 months. And Chiquinho as well as another right wing option. So we've seen recently in pre-season Gibbs White, Podence, and Neto in the front three, and that's who we think would feature this weekend, regardless of Gibbs White's future. And Semedo is another name to mention. I think he's back in training now, but he's been out for 4 or 5 months. So I think match fitness will be the order of the day with him, and probably won't see him for a little while in the team sheet.
I mean, if Neto can't score against that patched up Leeds side, then there's probably going to be some quick sales of him going forward. Newcastle next. John Joe Shelby a doubt. We talked about him missing out and what that means for Gamiresh. We're not really sure. But fairly easy to predict this one, right? You have some question marks about centre-back, I think, in the video we did yesterday. Still going to Botman?
They still linger a bit, those question marks, because Eddie Howe, true to his form, usual nature, didn't commit to anything in the press conference this morning. He was asked about Botman, basically the same points I made yesterday about Guimaraes being made to wait for his full debut, and then a reporter asked the same thing today about Botman, and how wouldn't be drawn. And I just said he was very happy with him, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. So that'll be my main, as usual with him. That'll be my main doubt. I think the centre half positions. Aside from that, I think it's fairly easy to predict. As you said there, Shelby's out, Fernandez and Lewis as well, and then Manquillo's only just back in training. So it's what happens with Shelby. Does Bruno fill in there, or does Longstaff come in to allow Bruno to continue in that sort of more advanced attacking role?
Cool. And they are playing Forest. We're next.
They are.
Heard from Steve Cooper.
We have, this was yesterday. This was his first Premier League press conference, and they are without Yates, who was a feature of their central midfield last season. He's not going to be involved this weekend. He came back from injury during pre-season and then picked up another knock. So he's out, and so is Omar Richards, who's the new signing, a left wing back. He's out for quite some time, I think a couple of months. Apart from that, I think they're the only two names mentioned by Cooper.
Cool. We've got 1,700 people watching live right now. The next team is Spurs. If you want Neale to tell you what's going to happen with Perisic, you need to like this stream. You need to subscribe to the channel. I'll just let you do that for a couple of seconds. Just have a quick drink. You see that, Neale? I'm really learning this whole YouTube.
What a pro.
I know. Yeah, you only know about Perisic if you like the stream. It's built into the algorithm.
Well, I'm going to have to click subscribe because I don't know what the answer is with Perisic either.
Don't say that. That's ruining the hype. Okay, here we go. So, Has there been any developments in Spurs? Has Neale changed the predicted lineup to include either Perisic or Doherty? I'll give you a spoiler right now. Yes, he has. Yeah. One of those two is in. Which one is it? Tell us, Neale.
It's Perisic. So that was based on a lot. I said I was up till 3 a.m. last night. That was a lot of trawling through forums and looking at little journalists, what they were thinking. Because ultimately, that's what the team news is. It's not my opinion. It's what the consensus seems to be. And the broad agreement is that Perisic has got a better chance, I think, of starting than Doherty, based on their fitness level. I think Doherty's looked a little bit rusty, whereas Perisic was very, very impressive against Roma, I think. There's obviously still a lot of doubt, so much to the point where we didn't put Perisic in the scout picks because, we couldn't say with any certainty that he is going to start, with Sessegnon lingering, and Sessegnon's got a full pre-season behind him. But as you said yesterday, you would think Perisic would be trusted more in the Chelsea game, perhaps. So you need some minutes behind him going into that. So I've put Perisic in, but I would say that sort of the chances of him starting, I would say probably no more than sort of 60-40. I wouldn't it's the spot. The two wing-back spots are the only real sources of debate in that Spurs team, with the exception of the left-sided centre-half thing where it could be Davies, it could be Sanchez, the new guy from Barcelona. But it's, the two wing-back positions. And if you're wanting Neale starters for your team going into Gameweek 1, then Perisic probably isn't that. But as we've seen people discussing, he's got so much upside that people are willing to throw caution to the wind and trust, a Pereira or a Williams coming off the bench if it came to that. I think what would happen, though, what would happen was that you wouldn't get those off the bench. You'd get a Perisic 1 pointer, him coming on for Sessegnon sort of later in the game. So I think that's a redundant argument, that bench strength. You can take that information and use it whatever way you want if you're a prospective Perisic owner, but just be aware of the element of risk.
I love I love this because this is Gameweek 1 in a nutshell, right? This is all the hope and optimism. I think all falls on Perisic's shoulders because I'm so happy and excited for Gameweek 1, and then as soon as I see him not starting tomorrow against Southampton, I'll be right. Okay, here we go again. Fantasy football's back. You made a lot of people happy in the chat. I will say you made me happy as well when I saw it when you made the change. Let's hope you're right.
Yeah,
or there's going to be a lot of unhappy people.
It does seem like I've just got cowed down to people's demands to put Perisic in there, but it did come off a bit of independent investigation. Tried to remain unbiased, but as I say, don't count your chickens.
Kev Mack has just said in the chat, there's 3 hours to go until the deadline. That is absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
All that summer.
2,100 people watching live, which is the most I think I've ever seen on a Scout video. So thank you, everyone.
I wish I'd showered and washed my hair.
You had some calls for you to get a haircut yesterday. Did you see in the comments?
Yeah. Oh, jeez, it is an absolute. I mean, it's just I've been meaning to do it for a couple of weeks, and I think I worked every day during that time and just never had a chance to do it.
Yeah.
I'm looking like the fella from what's his name? Javier Bardem from No Country for.
Oh yeah! Wow, that's a hell of a comparison. That is excellent. Southampton, probably less excitement there. I can save you some time if you want. Theo Walcott was ruled out.
Yeah, and Teller, and obviously Livramento was a long-term one as well.
I don't think anyone really cares. I got a bit of stick yesterday for talking about Southampton because I didn't really know too much about their new signings. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do against Spurs. They're definitely the team that I'm least clued up on, I think, in the league. So, it'd be interesting to know how they do. Aribo, our mate Aribo, he's my new favourite as well. God, 2,000 people watching. I don't talk after a load of nonsense. Everton, next. We know the problems they're in. I did the Q&A earlier, and I genuinely had some questions about people considering Dele Alli. That's the level we're at.
Really?
Yep, that's where we're at with 3 hours to go.
He's, I would say, he looks good for a start, I would say, against Chelsea. Not guaranteed, because they played Damari Gray through the middle instead. But we did see Dele come on for Rondon, I think, during pre-season when Calvert-Lewin wasn't there. So that is a possibility. As we alluded to there, Calvert-Lewin's out for 6 weeks. That's now the prognosis. So that takes him possibly till the international break. Rondon's obviously suspended. Davies and Gomez are out as well. Should be back soon. Coleman is back, but he's going to play for the under-21s tonight, so short of match fitness, which would seemingly solidify Patterson's place. Townsend's long-term injury, and Begovic, I think, is the only other person who's flagged. He's just about fit, according to his manager. But Yerry Mina is fit, and we probably expect him to come in at centre-half.
Very good. Chelsea, next. They've broken my heart today. The most pointless thing from the Brighton Twitter admin saying that the deal hadn't been, confirmed, and everyone to wait, and then it obviously just got confirmed a day later. But yeah, Cucurella has gone. I'm really sad about it.
Yeah, we discussed it yesterday how good he is, and as you said, that the probably unseen work as much as anything else, what he does, as much as the on the ball ability. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. As I said to you yesterday, Brighton's ability to replace outgoing players is second to none, really. So I'm sure they'll bounce back. As for team news, only Jakub Modner's out, so McAllister's fine. He's shaking off he had a tight groin, so he's fine for the United game.
Cool. And how about Chelsea?
Chelsea, we didn't get any injury updates from Tuchel. He was talking about Chilwell quite a bit. So he was mentioning he was still struggling a bit for fitness, and that obviously the new arrival from Brighton is a way to sort of abate the workload as well. Because we think Alonso was probably going to leave for Barcelona, and so they did need a reinforcement at left, not just left wing back, but left sided centre half as well, where Cucurella's been playing. So yeah, again, those comments about Chilwell's fitness, I would suggest leaves him in some doubt for this weekend, and maybe Alonso gets his FPL swan song. It could be, because he could be off to Barcelona before we know it. Yeah.
You messed up my order a bit, Neil.
I did. I just realised I did Brighton in the middle of that game.
Yeah.
You got me talking about Brighton.
I know.
I'm confused.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but forget it. It's only 2,500 people watching. It's fine.
It's all right.
There, Chelsea are playing Everton. We've done that one. Leicester next. I want to read Roger's quote about the goalkeeper because it really excited me.
Yes, please do.
I've always said Ward is number one. Iverson has gone away and done well. I don't feel like I need to look outside for a new goalkeeper. What more can you want? 4 million goalkeeper confirmed.
Yeah, well, what more could you want? You could actually want him to tell us which of the two is going to start if you're only picking one of them in FPL. We think it's going to be Ward based on previous comments. He's talked before about Ward being a number one in all but sort of name, and sort of spoken of in glowing terms. But he was refusing to give us that information today in the press conference this afternoon. We do think it's going to be Ward. I think the only lingering doubt is that he's just come back from injury. But thankfully, he did play, I think, in a behind closed doors game on Monday, and he's been training, so we think he's going to be all right. Obviously, match fitness for a goalkeeper isn't as integral as it is to an outfielder, so we think it's going to be Ward. But yeah, you won't relax until that transfer deadline's passed, I think, in 3 weeks' time.
No, especially not with all the players being linked away. I'm just going to update the predicted lineup graphic because I know that you did it and I asked you to do it and then I didn't update it at my end, which is typical. So we've got a slightly new predicted lineup because Barnes has been ruled out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this was probably the main unexpected news of the day. We knew pretty much everything else. Barnes is out. Yeah, Rodgers was fairly confident that he would recover from this, but it hasn't been the case. Pereira's out for 6 months as well. We thought it was serious, but not quite that serious. So he's going to be out until 2023. Barnes obviously is out for I think a few weeks, Rodgers said. So how they replace him, that's a big question because they haven't really got any width. Lookman's no longer there, of course. So they might move to possibly a two-man strike force. We've got Daka and Iheanacho can come in. And Marty or Justin could play as a third centre half. So that's what I've gone with in the team news. But he could do something else. He could bring Albrighton in, for example.
He's still there.
On the flank. He is.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what age he is. He must be mid-30s by now. I think we saw Dennis Pratt is still there. He played, I think, in a wider role in pre-season. But yeah, there's obviously a bit of new doubt about Leicester. We thought we would quite have a good season because they're out of Europe, no distractions, but they're losing players, not just injury, but to transfers as well. And as I mentioned yesterday, they haven't brought anybody in.
No.
So I'm going to renew my prediction for probably top 8. And
yeah, I know.
You're looking at probably more mid-table now, I think. Lower mid-table.
Ricardo Pereira's a horrible one, isn't it? I mean, another big injury for him. 6 months out, done his Achilles. It's just like, is it unluck? Is it just bad luck? Is it just like you look at players like him and like Wilshere and Oxlade-Chamberlain? Like these players, you just keep picking up injuries like this. Such a shame. He's such a good player, Pereira. Yeah,
and he was I think I might mention this yesterday. If you looked at the underlying stats of all the Leicester defenders last season, his stats were way better than Pereira. Sorry, and Justin's and Castagne's. So he was the name you were kind of excited about in that 4.5 million bracket. It does mean that Castagna and Justin are more nailed now. I know they've got Thomas, they've got Amati, but more weeks than not, it's going to be Justin and Castagna at right and left back.
I like Justin. Justin a lot.
He's a good player.
He is. He'd be someone I'd be looking at if I hadn't gone for the double 4 million goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we have 2,700 people watching now, which again is the most we've ever had. If that gets anywhere near 3,000, that is absolutely huge. Sorry, just to keep mentioning it, it really is amazing. One other thing I noticed with Leicester was you took Tielemans out.
I did. Yeah, that's purely down to the system change. Or I mean, he hasn't featured in pre-season. He's been linked with a move away as well. He apparently wants to move. I think he downed tools a bit last season as well. So the last two sort of first team pre-season friendlies, Tielemans wasn't in the lineup in either of them. He did come on for Pereira in the last game, so he could easily start. But it's the Barnes injury as much as anything else, because they've got a dearth of wingers now and sort of a surplus of central midfielders if Maddison moves back. So he would be the likeliest scapegoat, I think, a fall guy if Rodgers does go to 3-5-2.
Yep. Brentford next. It's going to be blank for a second because I didn't have anything, but look at that. Boom. There you go. Thomas Frank straight in. Anything interesting from Brentford? I mean, I haven't seen any Brentford players in anyone's team. I don't think Raya was in. He was kind of the most popular 4.5, wasn't he? But he's dropped out massively now. What do we know about Brentford? Anything new since yesterday?
I don't think there's anything new, no. As I think it's just Janssen, Aja, and Canos, who's both suspended and injured. But I haven't heard of anything new from Brentford.
Excellent, that's quick. Manchester United next. We talked about Martial yesterday, but we do have a bit of information on Martinez and Eriksen.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so Martial is out. Ten Hag's confirmed that this afternoon. Yes, so he said that Martinez and Eriksen are fit enough to start, which is, I think, he said something the opposite, like sort of a few days ago, about them needing time. But so yeah, they could be coming straight in. I'm going to have to revise my predictions. I'm just going through them all now for one last time after this video, halfway through it. So Martinez may actually come into that lineup now that I've heard that. Eriksen could feature as well. I would say possibly less chance of that, but Martial's injury does kind of open up a spot, and we're not sure if Ronaldo will be taking it, given that he's had a lack of a pre-season and he's already irked his boss. So it's how they set up without Martial. Do they go Rashford to the middle? Is Sancho fit as well? He had an illness. We don't know if he's back. I haven't checked that. I know Shaw's back in training. He missed out with an illness last weekend as well. So United's one of the last ones I'll probably finalise this afternoon. But that would be enough, I think, to put me off United for now. Certainly the attackers, because I think they got into a nice little rhythm, the three of them, Martial, Sancho and Rashford. And for at least one of them to be out, possibly two, then I think I'd put them on the back burner for now.
Yep. Cool. Would you mind just covering Brighton again quickly, just so it's there?
Of course, yes. Yeah, very, very simple. Jakob Moura's injured, long-term absentee. Everyone else is fine, including McAllister, who was a slight doubt for this.
Beautiful. Perfect. West Ham next. Now, this classic Moyes.
Yes, very classic Moyes.
Your favourite of all the managers. Obviously, the hardest game imaginable, really, against Man City. And he's talking about problems already.
He is. So he doesn't think the new striker, whose name eludes me for a second, is it Scamacca? Yes, the Italian lad. He is not much fit enough to feature, and neither is Ogbonna. And of course, Aguerd's out as well, the summer signing, the centre half. Beyond that, Moyes says they've got some problems, so wouldn't mention who they were. However, looking back at my pre-season minutes spreadsheet, Cresswell wasn't involved last weekend, and neither was Antonio. So it could be those two.
Bowen up top?
Could be Bowen up top, yeah. I mean, if he played up top against City last season, actually, as part of a two with Antonio. He could be playing through the middle by himself. In a more defensive shape, maybe as well, if he goes with a wing-back system. I'm just trying to see if anybody else was missing here. Cresswell and Antonio, they're the notable names not involved last weekend, so perhaps it's those two. So yeah, a bit more confident about the City clean sheet now, because it looks a tricky picture on paper, and West Ham spoiled the last four City clean sheets actually. But not being firing on all cylinders in pre-season, Antonio's not the player he was this time last year. and the new striker's not going to be ready for this one. So you'd be a little bit more confident, I think, about a City clean sheet here.
Yep, 2,900 people watching.
Oh, we're nearly there.
Now. Yep. My final call. If you are enjoying the Team News video, do give us a subscribe. Do like the channel. I won't mention it again. We've only got one more team to cover. But yeah, that is the highest number that I've seen by about 1,000 since I've been doing the scout videos. So that's pretty amazing. Final team then. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Final team then, and it is of Mr. Pep Guardiola, the notorious, manager for telling us exactly what's going to happen with his team. I have an incredibly vague quote on the screen involving penalties. Guardiola on who will take penalties, they will decide. Thanks, Pep.
Yeah. Not only that, nobody asked him about injuries either. So, he generally doesn't give us much even when he is asked, but you think someone would have at least asked him about it, and they didn't. So all we know is that Laporte's out for quite some time. I think till September. And anything else that came out of that press conference is embargoed, so that won't be released until well after tonight's deadline. I think maybe tomorrow. So we're not going to find out any more injury news about City, or whether Foden's fit enough to start, or whether there's any lingering problems from the Community Shield. Unfortunately, that is your lot. No team news from Pep.
Beautiful. We just hit 3,000 live views.
Brilliant. As well. Fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. That is it. That's absolutely excellent, Neil. As always, we will be doing these every week. If this is the first Team News video you watched, Neil and I do these every Friday at 3 p.m. As I said, I think they're the most important video of all the content out there to tune in. So make sure you watch these regularly. I'm off now to Fest. Hopefully I'll see quite a few of you there. Unfortunately, Neil isn't there because he's, I don't know, somewhere looking after babies and spreadsheets and all the other stuff that you love so much. But yeah, it's been great, Neil. Thanks for all your hard work over pre-season. Obviously, all the stuff on Scout. I've said before, Neil is the brains behind all of that. So if you haven't headed over to Scout yet, head over to fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Sign up as a member. Check out all the tools and members articles and videos and all that kind of good stuff. It's all over there. So Neil, I will see you again next week when Gameweek 1 will be over and we'll be looking ahead to Gameweek 2.
Yeah, good luck everybody with your decisions, and see you next Friday.
See you later.